Superman and Lois, ladies and gentlemen, episode 3, The Thing in the Mines, and it's your boy Icon with some DC TV. And in this particular episode, a lot of questions have been answered, some teasers, but also some questions. Two names got dropped, like the name Bizzaro came up and then the Doomsday came up. And I thought that was interesting because with the character that was down in the mines, like we thought it could go either way. So in this episode, he's still connected to this being, that's in the mines. And he can feel what the being feels. He can kind of like see certain things that the creature can see, the being can see, and it's affecting him internally. The being that's in the mine, it's feeling anger. It's enraged, it's upset, it's highly pissed off, and Clark is like that, the anger that being is putting forth, it's filtering in through Clark. Clark had two different situations because like he almost crash landed. He was getting the headaches again. And then he was telling everybody, he was like, listen, whatever's in the mind is getting stronger. It's getting worse. And I got to do something about it. The general, he came in and he was just like, well, we need to find out what's in the mind and why it's affecting you. But nobody can really go down there because the general's retired. Lois, they said if Lois goes poking around, then people are going to get suspicious. So John Henry Irons, because he was in on the conversation, he said that he was like, you know what, I'll go in. He said, I'll go into the mines. Lois was like, no, because, you promised Natalie. But he was just like, well, nobody else can do it. He said, plus I'm just going in the mines. It's not really that big deal. So they decided to let him do it. So John goes off to investigate into the mines to find out what's actually down there. And until then, Clark is trying to get on with his normal life until they hear back from him. So he's taking the kids to school. And here's where the anger portion of it started to kick in. Jordan, he's at the point where he's still mad at Sarah over kissing the girl at summer camp. And he's feeling some kind of way about it, but he still loves her and he still wants to be with her at the same time. And then he gets to a point where he's trying to figure out, like how to resolve this situation. And then Natalie comes in and then she tells him, she's like, well, listen, she did say that she felt really guilty about lying to you and about doing it. She said you should try to give her the benefit of the doubt because, let's be honest, you have a big secret too, because you're not telling her that you're one half of Superman and and you're Superman's son. And then, Jonathan even came in and he was just like, yeah, he said that when the day comes where you finally decide to tell her, you would want her to be cool about it and not react the way that you're reacting now. So then Jordan goes to I get it why he would tell his dad first, but he probably should have just told Sarah straight up. But kudos to him for at least bringing it up to his dad. So he asked his dad, he asked Clark, he was like, hey, listen, I'm thinking about telling Sarah about the family secret. And he was like, hell no. He's like, hell's to the no. He was just like, oh, but dad, he's like, oh, I love her. He's like, you're 15. He was like, I want to marry her. He's like, you're 15. He's like, she's the one I want to be with. He's like, bro, you're 15. He was like, you don't even know how you're going to feel a year from now, 2 years from now. You don't know how you're going to feel when you get to college. And then he was just like, but why can't I tell? And that was stupid for him to be like, why can't I tell? You know damn well. You know damn well why you can't tell that girl the family secret. But then unfortunately, Clark made the same mistake that every parent makes when they don't want to have a conversation. He hit him with the, because I said so, that's why. And like Jordan said, that's not an answer. And then, he was just like, oh, I love her, dad. And then that's when like Clark's eyes lit up red. He was like, no, you don't. And then everybody was like, oh, shit. So, and then, Clark kind of snapped out of it. He was just like, oh my God, I don't know what just happened. He was like, I'm sorry. And then, Lois took the kids to school and then, Clark stayed at the farm. Later on in the day, I guess Clark felt a little better. So he went to football practice where Jordan was. Jonathan was. And Jonathan, he's still having that situation with the kid from school where the kid who he thinks is juicing and he's on steroids. The kid is like, knocking him over in practice, getting the better of him in practice. And Jonathan's whole thing is he's like, I know this kid is taking something. I just don't know what yet. He later finds out his girlfriend told him that the kid was actually taking X-kryptonite, which is why he got his enhanced power. So then Jonathan brings it up to him during the football game. And then the kid says to him, he was just like, oh, you're only mad, Kent, because it's your girlfriend that's supplying me with the X-kryptonite. And then he was like, word, because he didn't know that. And then he was like, oh, you didn't know your girlfriend was selling kryptonite crack, whatever. And then Jonathan gets mad. He attacks the guy, and the two of them get into a fight on the football field. And I thought Clark played that off very well because when Clark stepped in to break up the fight, he accidentally got punched in the face, and he's freaking Superman. So it's like, obviously that's not gonna do anything, but when he got punched in the face, he sold it very well, and he like tumbled to the ground, and I thought that was very well done. And then he gets up, he grabs Jonathan, he brings him into the locker room, and then he's just like, what's wrong with you? You don't start fights, that's not what we do. And then he was just like, oh dad, he was like, but it's not fair. He's like, I deserve to be the star of the football team. And then his eyes lit up again, and he was like, well then act like it. And he took the football helmet and threw it through a soda machine. So then he started freaking out because he was about to shoot out the laser beams, and he couldn't really contain it because, again, the anger that he's feeling from the person and the creature in the mines was filtering through, and he couldn't stop himself from using his heat vision. So he ended up using his heat vision in his own hands. Like, he shot the beams into his own hands. And then after he shot it into his own hands and he burnt his own hands, then Jonathan quickly threw him in the car and took him back to Smallville, took him back to the farm. When they get back to the farm, Lois comes out, everybody comes out, and then, Clark is just like, I don't know what's going on, and then they told the boys, they'd go to your room, we're going to talk about this. And then, Clark was just like, I don't know what to do. He was like, I got to go find out what's in the mines. And then Lois was just like, hey, listen, this happened twice now. You already blew up at Jonathan. You blew up at Jordan. She's like, you're not leaving the house until John Henry calls us back to let us know what happened. And then Natalie comes in and she's just like, well, why would my dad have to call you? And then it was like, oh shit. Henry wasn't supposed to be there to begin with. And because Natalie was in school, he never got a chance to tell her that he was going into the mine. So now she's just like, oh, why is my dad, in the mines, doing your stuff? So, so then after that, so like I said, everybody's waiting. Henry Irons, he's in the mines. And while he's down in the mines, the same woman, the foreman from the last episode that got interviewed by Lois and Chrissy, she was there, and she took Henry into the mines because she was just like, oh, let's figure out what's down here and what caused the deaths of all our miners. So while she's down there, they're looking for things, and then John Henry Irons, he finds the detonation device, and then he was just like, hey, listen, somebody actually set off explosives down here. And then the girl hit him in the back of the head and knocked him out. And then she was just like, oh, I know. She's like, I'm the one that did it, bitch. And then she hit him in the face and cold knocked him out. Because this woman's obviously working for God, I hope it's Lex Luthor. I seriously hope this woman's working for Lex Luthor. But her agenda hasn't been revealed yet. Who she's working for hasn't been revealed, and why, they set all those people up, why they got all those people killed in the mines. Her whole purpose and the purpose of what they're doing, it's yet to be revealed. But now John Henry Irons, he's knocked out, and and he can't get back to anybody and do anything about it. And then at that moment, the creature that was in the mines, that was wearing that weird suit, he busted out of the mines. He literally bust right through the rock. And Clark knew that too, because Clark was talking to Lois, and then all of a sudden he started getting the headaches again. And he was just like, yo, the creature got out, and then he flew in to go stop him. So Clark's fighting the creature's fighting him. Obviously the creature can fly. They're exchanging blows back and forth. Then Lois tells Henry to get up. She was like, yo, get your black ass up and go help Superman. He calls for the suit, and then when he called for the suit, he ran outside to go meet the suit. But when the suit left the barn to go meet up with John Henry Irons, Natalie saw the suit fly out of the barn, and I was just like, here we go. And then so the suit shows up. He jumps into the suit. He starts hitting it, with red sunlight beam blast, and it wasn't affecting the creature. So then after he started shooting the red, the beams at him, he actually shot him once directly in the face because the creature was wearing a spacesuit, a helmet spacesuit. He shot him in the face, and then it cracked the suit open, and then half of the suit was missing. Henry Irons got, he got the backhand, and then he got knocked 50 feet back. But then that's when Clark looked at the person inside the suit, and he saw it was a deformed version of himself. And I was just like, shit, we got Bizzaro. They had us thinking that maybe we were going the Doomsday route because Doomsday did get mentioned. They also mentioned Bizzaro because even the general, he was just like, oh, he was like, there's a bizarre Superman. They did the same thing on Supergirl. In season 1 of Supergirl, they did a Bizzaro Supergirl. So I thought that was cool. I hope that gets mentioned too, because we try to act like Kara don't even exist. There's even a moment where the general was just like, come on, Clark, you're the most strongest being on the planet. And I'm like, what about Supergirl? So we'll see this, what happens there. But yeah, so we got Bizzaro world where everything backwards. If you watch the old Justice League, the old Justice League cartoon, and that's what they're going with, because even at the end, when they showed the Superman and Lois title, they did it reverse. So this creature is coming from Bizzaro world, the planet where everything is the reverse, everything is backwards, everything's opposite. But the reason why both of them are having headaches, because when both of them were that close to each other in proximity, they were both feeling the effects of it. And this takes us back to Batwoman now, because last season on Batwoman, when Beth's doppelganger from another planet ended up on Earth Prime, there were two Beths that were in Gotham. And both of them started experiencing headaches. Both of them were feeling pain. Both of them were having thoughts and feelings from the other person. What we found out was both parties can't exist at the same time. Like if you have a doppelganger, if there's two versions of you, the universe won't allow both of you to be here. So the reason why they're getting these headaches is because the universe is basically trying to decide which one of them to kill. If the universe doesn't decide which one to kill, then they're probably going to end up killing both of them. What ended up happening on Batwoman was there was a way to save one of the Beths, and Kate chose to save the other world Beth because she was nice and she was sweet and she was caring, whereas like the Beth on this earth, she was a cold-blooded murderer. But then someone accidentally shot that Beth and killed that Beth, and since that Beth died, then the other one, then the mean one, the evil one, she survived, and then like, you know, we ended up getting her, and then it turned into this whole big thing. But that's basically what's happening now. The headaches are a cause because the universe is trying to decide which Superman to kill, because both Supermans can't exist on this earthly plane, which means obviously Bizzaro is going to die in the season finale. But that's where we're at now. So we're trying to figure that out. We're trying to figure out how to stop him. And like I said, we'll see where Bizzaro goes, because even in the end, the Bizzaro Superman flew into the Fortress of Solitude, and he keeps like mumbling stuff, but I can't really make out what he's saying yet. So I said, we'll see. But I said, I'm interested to hear like how he speaks, because in the Justice League cartoon, the Bizzaro did speak backwards. Like he spoke all of his words backwards. It was the type of thing where the way that you beat him, you have to do the opposite. So, you know, like, you know, where Superman, the whole thing was like, you know, Superman's here to save the day. Like he would always come in and be like, Bizzaro is here to ruin the day. But to him, he thinks he's saving people. So that'll be interesting. Also, they made a comment when the Bizzaro Superman, when they realized there was a Superman from another Earth, the general had said, you know, to everybody, they was just like, well, he said to John, he was like, well, he said, could this be the evil Superman from the Earth that you were from? And then he was like, no, because our Superman, he was affected by red sunlight. This one isn't. And then he said that he didn't get here the same way that me and Nat got here. And then he said, Nat actually got here in a different way. And I'm like, when are we going to get the conversation for, I need an episode that lets us know how the hell his Nat got here. Because the girl arrived in a rocket ship, for Christ's sake. Her Earth got destroyed. I need answers, because they keep hinting at it and they've never given us the answers. And I don't know why her and Lois aren't talking more. They made this whole big thing about Lois and Natalie. It's been 2 episodes now, and the two of them may have a conversation yet. So I kind of want to see that dynamic, but I need to know how the girl got here, because I said, I'm tired of y'all teasing that without any answers. And then like in other Smallville news, Lana tried to run for mayor. When she went to go have a conversation with the people, they were just like, oh, aren't you the same person that sold those bad loans and got those people's houses taken? And you supported Morgan Edge and blah, blah, blah. And then she started doubting herself. But then Lana's niche, and her husband kept trying to tell her this, and I don't know why she didn't listen. But then again, maybe I do. But she's like, the thing is, she's a hometown girl. She's a Smallville girl. Like, she knows everybody. She knows all the people. She knows the traditions. She knows the customs. She is Smallville. And then Clark even said, he said, now that his mother's gone, he said, Lana is the heart of Smallville. And she needs to play more on that, because Lana's whole thing is, oh, I need to be a politician and prove to the people that I can do the job and that I can be serious and that I can be. It's like, no. It's like, people aren't going to vote for you because you're a politician. They're going to vote for you because you're someone who's from the town, and they believe that someone from the town has the town's best interest at heart. So she needs to play up on that. And she did, because she did a whole thing where she's like, listen, I'm not going to have a podium where I do an interview and I talk to people. She said, what we're going to do is, she's like, I'm going to be in the kitchen. I'm going to be frying this chicken. She's like, I'm going to be cooking these collard greens, and y'all can just ask me questions on social media. And then, you know, like I said, and I'm happy to see that, because she's being herself, and that's what's going to win out in the end. Jonathan, at the end of the episode, he ended up going to his girlfriend's house when he found out that she was the one selling X-Kryptonite. He was just like, listen, I didn't come here to curse you out. He said, I actually came here to score some. So Jonathan is going to be taking X-Kryptonite now, because he's still the one child without superpowers. So he's going to try to get them just so he can be on an even playing field on the football team, just so he can try to get ahead. Jordan ended up apologizing to Sarah. He even gave her like his grandmother's old necklace. So now the two of them are back on track. And the lowest portion of the show, the same woman, the cult leader that got her sister Lucy to almost kill herself, she's still around. She's still supposed to do this podcast where she's going to expose Lois Lane and one of her sources as a fraud and a liar. And Lois wants to talk to Lucy about it because she doesn't know if Lucy's the surprise guest or not. She got into an argument with her dad because when the whole situation with Lucy first came out where she was following this cult leader, Lois tried to tell her dad about it, and her dad basically chose Lucy's side because Lucy said, don't worry about it, and he was just like, okay, fine. And then the girl almost killed herself. Lois and her dad got into it, and then she was just like, listen, you never even read the article that I did. I saved Lucy's life, and it's like, why do you always pick her over me? So then the dad finally read the article, he apologized to Lois, and he talked to Lucy, and he said, I got Lucy to have a conversation with you. When, they were supposed to meet at the diner so they can talk. And I thought we were going to get the actress back that played Lucy. I was actually excited to see her again. But then instead of Lucy going to the diner to meet up with Lois, it ended up being the cult leader. The two of them didn't even say anything. And that nonverbal conversation told us all we needed to know. It was just them staring back at each other with Lois giving her the look like, I'm about to come over the table and choke this bitch. But that's getting actually pretty heated. And I kind of want to see that because I said, I know Lucy's going to show up at some point, but I want to see what Lois has to go through now with dealing with this cult leader. And, maybe she goes undercover or whatever, but this is going to be pretty good. Like I'm actually here for that. And, and then finally, like, let me just say this. Having Natalie in the house, honestly, is a breath of fresh air because she is the voice of reason in this household, and she's the reason why everything's coming together. When Jordan was crying over Sarah, she came in and she talked to him, and she was the reason why she was the one that helped him see the other side of it because she was just like, listen, you're the one that's keeping secrets from her too, but you're mad at her. She's like, that's not really fair. And then even with John Henry Irons, yeah, he didn't get it. And it's like, I'm glad they didn't do the whole thing where she was like, you lied to me, Dad, because he didn't lie. When John came back from having the fight with Bizzaro, he went to Natalie and he was like, I'm sorry, things were busy. You were at school and I didn't get a chance to tell you. I didn't lie to you. I was going to tell you. I just didn't get a chance to tell you yet. And she gave the perfect response because she was, because she was just like, how long is this going to be our lives? She's like, I thought you said we were going to get back to normal. And then he was like, well, we live on a farm with Superman. He was like, I don't think our lives are ever going to be normal. And then she said to him, she was like, I don't want you going back out there again. And then I was like, oh God, here we go. And then she said, until we fix the suit. And I was like, see, that's my girl. She's, because she's mature about it. She understands her dad is going to go out there. Like, this isn't a secret. So, but her whole thing is, she's just like, listen, if you're going to go out there and do it, because she even asked him, she was like, why are you going out there? He was like, because these people need our help. The people that are providing us with room and board and shelter, they need our help. So she was just like, well, that's fine, but I don't want you going out there to help Superman until we fix the damn suit. Because she was like, the CPU is broken, the AI don't work, there's a hole in the chest, the molecular bonded shell, is broken. She was like, look, until we fix this suit, she's like, I don't want you going out there. And then he was just like, all right. He was like, I didn't want you to have to fix the suit. But she was like, well, that's life. And I'm just like, yes. A show where there's a mature teenager in the room. Now, obviously, with that being said, now they're going to do something to ruin it. Because I'm telling you, when Natalie finally has her emotional breakdown, it's going to be because she's going to find out that Lois had a miscarriage and that she was going to name her baby Natalie. And it's going to be the whole thing where it's like, oh, you only took me in to replace the daughter that you lost back then. Like that I'm saying that's what's going to happen. But anyway, but aside from that, like I said, it was nice to see Natalie again. So then, so that was basically it. Like I said, and in the end, the Bizzaro Superman, it went to the Fortress of Solitude, and they're trying to stop the army now from sending in like that young Superman team in to go save the day, because like Clark said, if you send those young punks in there to fight this Bizzaro Superman, they gonna get their ass beat. Anybody got time for that? So that was it. And thank you for tuning in. Good episode of Superman and Lois as always. Like I said, we got the reverse letters. We are now in Bizzaro world with everything backwards. And I'm looking forward to the show. Is good. The show is actually really good. One of the top 2 best superhero shows of the week by far. So, but share your thoughts below. Like, let me know in the comment section what you thought about Superman and Lois. What do you think about where the show's going forward? What do you think about having Bizzaro on the show? Share your thoughts and we continue to talk about it. Hit me up on Twitter and Instagram as always on YouTube so we can have our questions, comments, and concerns. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I said, check me out for the superhero goodness because we got Batwoman coming up, Legends of Tomorrow, we got Naomi, and we got Peacemaker. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Up, and away. Well, I guess down, down and away for Bizzaro. And until next time, I'm out this. Biatch!